Meghan and Harry's crisis, completely of their own making, is they have no major projects, no major money earners. And so they're more desperate than ever.
The money is officially drying up for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle as more and more news of the dissolution of Archewell Foundation comes forward, which is money. In fact, Harry and Meghan sold themselves to a dinner table at $100,000 a pop to raise money.
February 25th, 2026, 3:15 a.m. at Queen Alia International Airport. While the Princess of Wales remains shrouded in total medical secrecy, battling for her health behind the high walls of Windsor, a non-numbered private jet touches down on the desert tarmac of Amman. The cabin door opens, and Meghan Markle steps into the blue glare of the runway spotlights. She is not dressed for travel, she is dressed for a photo shoot. A crisp white shirt, khaki trousers, and a calculatedly messy bun. It is a frame-by-frame resurrection of Princess Diana in 1997. This is not a humanitarian mission. This is a tactical strike. Investigative biographer Tom Bower has just declassified the true motive behind this sudden maneuver, calling it, and I quote, a symbolic occupation. This is the breaking headline the Montecito PR team tried to bury. Meghan Markle has not just landed in the Middle East. She has invaded the emotional territory of Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Jordan is not a random choice. It is the childhood home of Catherine, the place where she lived from 1984 to 1986. By choosing this specific geography during Catherine's darkest hour, Meghan is attempting to delete the original and install a counterfeit royal. Inside the Amman Airport's VIP terminal, the atmosphere is freezing. Witnesses described a scene of chilling professional calculation. Meghan was not looking at the greeting party. She was staring at the monitor of her own camera crew. She was overheard directing the lead cinematographer, telling him to ensure the lighting captured the humanitarian warmth but kept the jewelry in focus. Behind her, Prince Harry stood like a hollowed-out shadow. He was slumped, his eyes sunken under the harsh LED lights, looking less like a prince and more like a man whose soul has been professionally extracted. Tom Bower's latest dossier reveals that this trip was authorized through a backdoor deal with Dr. Tedros of the World Health Organization, bypassing the British Foreign Office entirely. When Harry reportedly attempted to justify the trip to a senior palace aide via a frantic late-night phone call, his words were cold and rehearsed. Harry told the aide that they were pro-family, pro-children, and pro-peace, and that the world needed to see them leading where the king could not. The aide's response was a sharp 5-word execution. You are representing no one. The timeline of this ambush is critical. It is 48 hours after Prince William returned from a high-stakes diplomatic visit to Saudi Arabia. By landing in Jordan now, Meghan and Harry are not just visiting. They are engaging in disaster tourism. At the Zaatari refugee camp, Meghan was filmed holding the hand of a 14-year-old burn victim from Gaza. To the casual viewer, it looks like compassion. To the investigative eye, it is a weaponized PR asset. Tom Bower points out the lethal contradiction. Meghan can fly 6,000 miles to hold the hand of a stranger for a Netflix camera, yet she has not spoken to her own father, Thomas Markle, as he prepares for his own surgery just hours away in Mexico. The mechanism of this tour is built on one thing: the monetization of tragedy. They are using the suffering in Gaza to reboot their failing brand. Bower reveals that the Sussexes issued a secret Q&A cheat sheet to the mainstream media just minutes before landing. The document explicitly instructed reporters to use phrases like global statesman and modern Diana. But the palace has already retaliated with a silent, lethal move. A source from the King's office has confirmed that this Jordan trip has been flagged as a direct violation of the Sandringham Agreement. The question isn't why they are in Jordan. The question is what they are running away from. As we dig deeper into the financial wreckage of Archewell, it becomes clear that this royal tour is a desperate smokescreen for a $23 million catastrophe gathering dust in a California warehouse. Harry is crying in a London courtroom about his wife's misery, while Meghan is smiling in a desert refugee camp, curating a legacy built on the ghost of a mother-in-law she never met. The masks are slipping, the documents are leaking, and the Queen of the Desert is about to find out that the sand is shifting beneath her feet. Stay with me, because the paper trail leads to a warehouse in California that proves the humanitarian facade is about to bankrupt them both. Behind the manufactured warmth of the Jordan sun lies a cold, mathematical nightmare that no amount of soft-focus PR can hide. While Meghan Markle was busy curating her Queen of the Desert persona at the Zaatari refugee camp, the real story was unfolding 6,000 miles away in the sterile, fluorescent-lit aisles of Warehouse No. 4 in California. This is where the humanitarian facade meets the brutal reality of an industrial-scale collapse. Tom Bower has confirmed what the Sussex team has desperately tried to scrub from the internet. Meghan Markle is currently sitting on a $23.1 million ruin. The investigation into the As Ever lifestyle brand has moved from speculation to forensic certainty. The myth of the instant sellout was shattered not by a royal leak, but by a catastrophic technical oversight on the brand's own website. Digital detectives on Reddit, specifically user KikiLove777, discovered a critical inventory-level error in the site's code. By simply adding a large quantity of fruits spread gift boxes to a virtual cart, the system's backend was forced to reveal its true stock. The result was staggering. 137,455 units were sitting unsold. Think about that number. 137,455 jars of jam and marmalade gathering dust in a climate-controlled graveyard. Based on real-time sales data tracked over a 48-hour period, the brand is moving an average of only 26 jars per day. At this current velocity, it would take Meghan 9 years to clear her existing stock. These are perishable goods with expiration dates fast approaching. This isn't a thriving business. It is a $23 million anchor dragging the Sussex brand to the bottom of the ocean. But the As Ever implosion is only the tip of the iceberg. The most lethal blow to their credibility comes from the California Attorney General's office. The Archwell Foundation has been officially slapped with a delinquent label. This isn't just a paperwork error, it is a red-line violation of state law. Under the California Supervision of Trustees and Fundraisers for Charitable Purposes Act, being delinquent means Harry and Meghan are legally prohibited from soliciting or spending a single dime of charitable funds. The financial dossier provided by Tom Bower shows a terrifying trajectory for Archwell. In 21, they were flush with $13 million in donations. By 24, that figure had cratered to $2.1 million. Yet, their burn rate remains astronomical. They spent $5.1 million in a single year, more than double what came in. Where did the money go? $4 million was funneled into administrative costs, a polite euphemism for private security, luxury travel, and the salaries of a shrinking team that now consists of only 2 staffers. When a senior palace aide was reportedly briefed on the Archwell delinquency, their reaction was one of grim satisfaction. The aide allegedly remarked that charity is a service, not a slush fund, and that the bill for their independence has finally come due. The mechanism of their current desperation is now clear. The Jordan trip was an emergency distraction. Step 1. A business fails at home. Step 2. A legal delinquency freeze triggers a cash flow crisis. Step 3. Launch a high-profile royal tour in a conflict zone to attract new globalist donors and drown out the news of a federal audit. Meghan is gambling that a photo of her holding a refugee's hand will erase the image of an empty warehouse and a delinquent tax status. But as the clock ticks toward the June 30th deadline for Archwell's mandatory financial disclosure, the walls are closing in. The Queen of the Desert is running out of sand, and the King's accountants are waiting at the border with a very different kind of reception. Stay focused, because the next document we've uncovered reveals exactly who is funding their private jet to Jordan and it isn't a charity. The billion-dollar empire Meghan Markle, envisioned in 2024, has officially collided with a dusty, silent reality in a California industrial park. While the Sussex PR machine spent months feeding the mainstream media a diet of instant sellouts and global demand, investigative biographer Tom Bower has just declassified the blueprint of what he calls industrial-grade gaslighting. Behind the glossy Instagram filters, the As Ever brand is not a thriving business. It is a $23 million graveyard of unsold fruit spread. Tom Bower's investigation reveals a calculated three-step mechanism used by Meghan to manufacture the illusion of success. Step 1. The scarcity trap. The brand produced only a handful of jars, roughly 50 units, and distributed them to high-profile friends. This guaranteed that the website could display a sold-out banner within 45 minutes, triggering a tidal wave of global headlines. Step 2. The credibility bluff. Meghan took those manufactured headlines to venture capitalists and Netflix executives, using the sold-out metrics to justify a massive production run of hundreds of thousands of units. Step 3. The catastrophic miscalculation. Believing her own hype, Meghan ordered a stockpile so large it now fills the entire footprint of warehouse number 4 in California. But the public's curiosity did not translate into loyalty. The truth was exposed not by a palace insider, but by a catastrophic technical error on the As Ever website. A digital audit by Reddit user KikiLove777 revealed a vulnerability in the site's e-commerce backend. By entering a specific command in the Add to Cart function, the system's hidden inventory levels were laid bare. The numbers are an absolute bloodbath. 137,455 fruit spread gift boxes are sitting on wooden pallets right now. Based on real-time transaction tracking over a recent 72-hour period, the brand is moving an average of just 26 units per day across the entire United States. Do the math. At this rate, it will take Meghan Markle 9 years and 4 months to clear her existing inventory. These are perishable goods. By the time that warehouse is empty, the product inside will be nothing more than expensive, fermented sludge. The physical evidence of this amateur hour operation is even more damning. Photos leaked from inside the fulfillment center show jar number 17 part of the original influencer batch with a peeling, substandard label and air bubbles trapped beneath the adhesive. A source close to the production line told Tom Bower that Meghan was so obsessive about the lifestyle imagery that she neglected the basic chemistry of food preservation and packaging durability. One former staffer reportedly whispered that the warehouse smells of rotting citrus and broken dreams. This isn't just a failed business venture, it is a financial suicide note. Each of those 137,000 units represents capital that is now frozen, unrecoverable, and rapidly depreciating. Tom Bower points out that this is the real reason for the Jordan Royal Tour. The Sussexes are out of cash. They are desperate for a new humanitarian headline to distract from the fact that their billionaire lifestyle is being funded by a credit line that is about to snap. The As Ever website has been quietly taken offline for maintenance 3 times in the last 48 hours as the team tries to patch the inventory leak. But the secret is out. Meghan Markle isn't Martha Stewart. She is a woman with $23 million worth of jam that nobody wants to buy. As the expiration dates on those 137,000 jars tick closer, the question isn't if the brand will fail, it's who will be left to pay the storage fees. Stay with me, because the next chapter involves a weeping prince in a London courtroom, and the testimony he just gave has sent shockwaves through the King's counting house. The $100 million Netflix deal was supposed to be the Sussexes' ultimate shield, a financial fortress that would make them untouchable. But, according to the latest intelligence from Tom Bower, that fortress is currently being dismantled from the inside out. Hollywood is not known for its loyalty. It is known for its cold-blooded efficiency. And in the high-stakes boardrooms of Los Angeles, the strategy being deployed against Harry and Meghan is what Bauer calls slow ghosting. This isn't a dramatic firing. There will be no loud press release, no public termination of the contract. Instead, it is a quiet, systematic withdrawal. Netflix executives have simply stopped returning the calls. They have stopped greenlighting the pitches. The $100 million agreement is not being renewed. It is being managed toward expiration at the end of 2026. The data is an absolute disaster for the Montecito brand. Meghan's latest lifestyle series, the one intended to position her as the next, Martha Stewart, crashed in the global charts, landing at a humiliating rank of 1,217th on the platform. Think about that. Out of all the content available to hundreds of millions of subscribers, the Duchess of Sussex barely registered. Tom Bauer's investigation into the production of that show reveals a devastating lack of depth. Former staffers spoke to Bauer under the strictest conditions of anonymity, describing a set where the content was secondary to the image. One production insider was quoted as saying, and I quote, "Meghan wasn't interested in cooking. She was interested in looking like she was on the cover of a magazine. She would spend 3 hours adjusting the lighting on a bowl of lemons while the crew sat in silence. She has nothing to say, no originality, and zero depth. It's all a rehearsed performance, and the audience can smell the artifice through the screen. The financial fallout of this creative failure is catastrophic. Netflix has quietly slashed the budget for Archwell Productions by 60%. The animated series Pearl was the first domino to fall, cancelled, before a single frame was finished. Now, the remaining projects are being put into development hell, a Hollywood term for projects that are funded just enough to keep them from being sold elsewhere, but never actually produced. The mechanism of slow ghosting is designed to protect the streamer's reputation, while the Sussex brand slowly starves of oxygen. Step 1. Cut the production budget to the bone. Step 2. Refuse to promote any existing content. Step 3. Wait for the contract to hit its 2026 sunset clause. By the time the deal officially expires, the Sussexes will have no leverage, no fresh content, and most importantly, no sustainable income. Netflix executives reportedly realized within the first 6 months that Meghan could not deliver what they bought. A behind-the-scenes look at the royal family. Once they realized she was only offering flower arranging and jam, the tap was turned off. When Harry attempted to pitch a documentary on intergenerational trauma, the response from a senior vice president was allegedly a deafening silence, followed by a one-line email. Noted. We'll get back to you. They never did. The $100 million dream is now a 60% shell of its former self. Harry and Meghan are trapped in a first-look deal that is quickly becoming a no-look reality. As Hollywood pulls its support, the Sussexes are being left to float in a void of their own making. But while the cameras are turning away in Los Angeles, a different kind of drama is reaching a boiling point in a London courtroom. Harry is about to take the stand, and what he's about to say under oath will either save his family or burn the last bridge back to the king. Stay with me, because the courtroom transcripts we've just received are more explosive than anything Netflix ever produced. 5 days ago, inside Room 15 of the London High Court, the world witnessed the final, agonizing collapse of a royal identity. On February 20th, 2026, Prince Harry did the unthinkable. Under the cold, fluorescent lights of the witness stand, he broke down in big boy tears. But the reason for his weeping was not the loss of his mother or the distance from his father. He was sobbing over Meghan Markle in a case involving tabloid articles published between 2001 and 2013. Think about the sheer mathematical absurdity of that moment. Harry was testifying about events that occurred more than a decade before he even met his wife. Yet, the transcript reveals he was incapable of answering a single question about his own life without centering it on Meghan's misery. The Honourable Justice was forced to intervene not once, not twice, but 3 times, sternly reminding a grown prince to control his emotions and simply answer the questions regarding the law. The court was not interested in his feelings, it was interested in the facts. But for Harry, the facts have been replaced by a script. Investigative biographer Tom Bower has just declassified the psychological mechanism behind this courtroom meltdown. Bower's sources within the legal team describe a man who has been completely programmed. Harry is no longer a witness in his own life, he is a programmable asset. He has been taught to believe that every grievance in his past is retroactively Meghan's pain. According to Bower, this is not just a marriage, it is a profound, toxic psychological dependency. The palace has seen enough. A confidential briefing from the King's senior aides has officially applied a new, lethal label to the Duke of Sussex, the national liability. But while Harry was weeping for his wife in a London court, where was Meghan? She wasn't in the gallery. She wasn't at the airport waiting for him. At the exact moment Harry was breaking down under oath, Meghan Markle was in California, posting high-gloss, curated images of her luxury lifestyle to her millions of followers. While her husband was being humiliated in the British judicial system to protect her, she was choosing the right filter for a photo of a silver tray and a $36 jar of jam. This is the Sussex contrast that is fueling a firestorm of indignation. Tom Bower points out that this is a one-sided psychological war. Harry is sacrificing his dignity, his remaining royal ties, and his mental stability on a witness stand, while Meghan is distancing herself from the legal mess to protect her brand. She is the director, he is the stuntman who actually gets hurt. The palace insiders who spoke to Bower are horrified. They see a prince who has been reduced to a shield for a woman who refuses to stand by him when the cameras aren't controlled by her own crew. The national liability tag is not just a name, it is a trigger for a constitutional protocol. By proving he is emotionally unstable and incapable of objective thought, Harry has handed the king the ultimate justification for a permanent severance. Tom Bower warns that this courtroom performance was the final nail in the coffin of any reconciliation. William has reportedly told his inner circle that Harry is unrecognizable and unreachable. The prince, who once served on the front lines in Afghanistan, has been defeated by a PR script in a London courtroom. Stay with me, because the final chapter of this investigation reveals the secret ultimatum King Charles just sent to Montecito, and it involves a deadline that expires in less than 90 days. As the sun sets over the desert sands of Jordan on this February evening in 2026, the shadow falling over Montecito has never been longer. The royal tour was meant to be a resurrection. Instead, it has triggered a definitive, final retaliation from the British Crown. We have reached the point of no return. Investigative biographer Tom Bower's latest dossier outlines the 3 potential paths for the Sussexes as they enter their final financial quarter, and none of them involve a happy ending. In the worst-case scenario, the financial guillotine falls. Following his emotional collapse in the London High Court, legal experts predict Harry will be saddled with court costs and damages exceeding £15 million. Without a Netflix renewal or a working charity, Harry faces a liquidity crisis that would bankrupt most millionaires. Tom Bower reveals that Meghan's team is already preparing a brand detachment strategy, a cold, corporate maneuver to legally separate her assets from Harry's mounting debts, effectively leaving him to sink alone in his own litigation. But the most realistic scenario, according to the highest levels of palace intelligence, is absolute isolation. King Charles has reportedly issued a final financial ultimatum. There will be no security funding, no emergency bailouts, and no return to the royal fold. The King's resolve is being enforced by Princess Anne, who is currently spearheading the 2026 Titles Deprivation Amendment Act in Parliament. This isn't just a suggestion, it is a legal mechanism designed to strip the Sussex name once and for all. By summer, Harry and Meghan may find themselves as nothing more than Mr. and Mrs. Mountbatten Windsor, two private citizens with $23 million worth of rotting jam and a mountain of legal bills. The palace has realized that you cannot negotiate with a brand built on victimhood. You can only starve it of oxygen. By cutting the cord entirely, Charles and William are waiting for the Sussex brand to simply burn itself out. However, as the ship begins to tilt, the most dangerous betrayal is not coming from London. It is coming from within the walls of their own mansion. Tom Bower has just revealed his most explosive card yet to be featured in his upcoming exposé. Meghan Markle is currently in secret negotiations for a $50 million nuclear option. She is selling her private diaries detailed minute-by-minute accounts of her 72 days as a working royal. But here is the chilling twist, the Harry exclusion clause. According to Bower, the publishers are offering the full $50 million payout on one condition. The narrative must focus on Meghan's solo journey. The contract allegedly contains a clause that reduces the payout by 80% if Harry is co-authored or featured as a primary hero. The ultimate betrayal is now on the table. To save her financial future and clear the $23 million debt of her failed businesses, Meghan Markle may have to sell the one thing she has left, her husband's last remaining secrets, while effectively editing him out of the story. The war is no longer Sussex versus the Crown. It is Harry versus Meghan for the final piece of the billionaire dream. Which side will you take when the final documents are signed? Is Harry a victim of a professional script, or is he the architect of his own extinction? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you want to stay ahead of the point of no return and see the leaked warehouse documents we're verifying right now, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our next investigation, because when the Queen of the Desert realizes the sand has run out, the truth she tells will be the most expensive one yet. Stay tuned. This is far from over.